Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to do an interview for English class. So today we are with Mr. Valle. Mr. Valle is an expert of Zamorano. Mr. Valle was graduated on Science Production Department in 2014. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Valle, and thank you for this time to do this interview. Okay, for start, we want to know what do you think about all the method on agriculture that we have to feed the world. Okay, my first question for you is that we know that population is growing now day by day. So what do you think about the method that Zamorano are learning to their students? Remember that students are Zamorano are trying to learning to their student method of production that when the student come back to the country they go to implement that method.
Yeah. Well, I think that Zamorano has the best method of teaching, and it's because this learning by doing method, I think it's the best way to learn something, right? When you say something to a person, then he can forget about that. But when he does the activity, when he learns by doing the activity, that's very hard to forget. So I think Zamorano is doing very, very good on teaching, and that's the thing that allows us when we go back to our countries or to our communities to put it in practice with our neighbors.
Okay. Continue with the method of production that Zamorano are implemented. Organic agriculture is one method of production. What do you think about this method of organic agriculture without the use of pesticide and biological control?
Yes, I think it's also a very good method, right? And because it has created a specifically market to you can sell your products with a higher price and maybe obtain more yields in the terms of money, but it's not applicable in all cases, right? Because some of the products are not at the access to everyone. Not every agriculture or low status agriculture can do this kind of organic agriculture. And it has also the concept that you have not the same yields when you apply synthetic fertilizers, right?
Yeah. But this method, do you think it's a great method to feed the world? A way to feed the world?
Well, it's not a. It will not supply all that demand, right? It will not supply. You have to use or synthetic fertilizers to have great yields and then to feed the world. I don't think organic agriculture will be the solution. No.
Okay.
Not at all.
It's the same thinking about the science. Science says that when agriculture is intensive, organic agriculture is a bad idea to feed the world, because remember that organic agriculture is very affected for diseases. So, what do you think about GNO? Do you think that GNO could be a great solution to feed the world?
Yes, I do think so. I think that when you use the this tool of biotechnology, you can solve a lot of problems, right? Again, there is also the problem of people accepting this kind of products, right? You have to teach them that you are not doing nothing that will affect their health, and still, even though you have scientific papers that go against the use of GMOs, it's a lot of topic that you have to do a research and look again and again about this. Right? It's still a science, a kind of science that I think it is in development, right? So we cannot see all the benefits nor all the maybe negative things that will bring to our future.
Okay. We know that you're working on biotechnology advances with Dr. Rosas. So we want to know what advances do you are trying to create in this learning by doing.
Well, we teach the students how marker-assisted selection works on plants, and here in the program, in this research program, we basically work for looking for tolerance to low fertility in soils, maybe plants that will tolerate low fertility, mainly in nitrogen and phosphorus, and of course organic matter, percentage of organic matter in soil. Also, plants that will tolerate heat, droughts, high temperatures, low temperatures, and several diseases that can affect the crops.
Okay, another idea that science say is that one solution to fix the world is to use the same soil that we have. Science say that for 2050, pollution growing up about 90 billion people. So this is around 30% more than today. So do you think that we can fix the world with the same soil that we have today?
Well, we have to. I think that we have to, right? It's the only option we have because population is growing, and then industry, and that we needed a place where to live. And if then the soil increases, that will be the forestry, the soil that it has forest. So the best thing I think is that we have to look for a way to produce, to feed the people with the same amount of soil that we have on by now. And that involves using a lot of use of biotechnology to increase the yields in every crop.
And in a relationship with this question that my partner mentioned before, according to an article by the National Geographic in 2014, do you think we have to make a better use of resources we have now to feed the world?
Yes, of course, yes. Like we just said, a better use of soil resource, of water resource, of our fertilizers, our seeds. Yeah, I think we should be doing all those kind of stuff.
People said that we have now enough food, but it's not. It have a bad distribution. What do you think about it?
Yeah, like everything else in the world, not only in food but in any kind of resource, there is a lot wrong distribution around the world, right? Poor countries, poor people in the country, and wealthy people in the country. It's because everything is upside down, right?
Yeah. But this to try, we have enough waste of food, and we have to feed the world. What do you think about the waste that we have of food, and now we have to think about to feed more people?
Yeah, that's also a sad truth. It's true, but it's sad. We have a lot of food, it's sometimes not the production that's the problem, but what we do with that food. In the supermarkets, for example, the things that are not qualified by the people in the market as good quality or that food, it's still you can eat it. You still can eat it, right? Even though if it has a smaller size than a big tomato, if it's still small, you can eat it, right? It's still food. You don't have to waste it. And probably the United States has the major percentage of waste related with food and compared with other countries, right? That we are needing food.
Though, and here in the university, as my partner said, learn by doing, making to give to their country, the students, the methods. But what do you need? What do you think other activities that the university have to do, maybe to have a better to cover this need?
Well, there is something that we call welfare responsibility. I mean, social responsibility. That's a thing that all the enterprises have to do now, right? They not work for themselves, but they have to give a benefit to the people around them. And I think Zamorano works in that way, not only teaching the students, but developing projects around in the communities around this valley, right? There are several projects of irrigation, of using greenhouses to produce that. They are teaching the people in these communities to establish that kind of technologies in their communities, right? So not only teaching the students, but developing projects in the communities nearby.
All these things we are talking about feed the world. What do you think about what can do the big organizations, the governments, to feed the world?
Well, of course, they are the ones in charge, right, of all the political activities. But I think it's not a thing that it depends entirely on them, because they need to make treaties or agreements with other enterprises, maybe non-governmental organizations, academies, like Zamorano, I mean institutions, academic institutions, and of course not a government working by himself, but a group or several governments, right? Several countries working in treaties or in agreements to make a big solution. I think it's the only way to work. You need cooperation, right? You cannot work for yourself or by yourself.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Valle, for this interview. Very. Thank you so much for this time.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.